I can't see you. Oh, there you are.
Hi, I'm so sorry.
Oh my God.
So, what happened was it actually went through to my personal account, not my work account. So, I kept checking my work account, and obviously
So
there was
odd.
the
And it keeps,
disconnect. So, that's why I'm actually the real Tazzy. I was putting it through. Can you hear me?
yes,
Sorry
yes.
about that.
And it's
It's
okay.
a typical Monday today, I think, and I really apologize for the tardiness. I am not the best when it comes to technology at the best of times, but I'm glad we connected, and I'm so sorry for the delay.
Yay. Okay. Well, you kept saying, I kept seeing this name, but I didn't know that was you. Anyways, I'm sending it to your other account. So, um, welcome to an
Thank you.
episode
Once again, I'm so
of
sorry.
Elementary. No worries. So today, um, we'll get started. I have with me, not the real Tazi, but you can tell them who you are. So maybe introduce yourself, your Instagram handle, and
Absolutely. So,
go ahead.
so my name is Suzanne Perrette. I'm a professional organizer based in Toronto. My actual username on Instagram for my business is at Organize My Chaos. So the other one is a personal one. I don't use for business, obviously, but here I am. So thank you, thank you so much, Jacqueline, for having me today.
Oh no, absolutely. I was like so excited. I was like, I'm not giving up. She's gonna join. We're gonna make her join somehow. Anyhow, um, so glad that you could, we get to all of these technical issues, but now we're live.
We're
So,
live.
like you said, like I mentioned earlier, you know, welcome to Elementary. Today, it's Organize My Chaos. That's her Instagram handle at Organize My Chaos. And she's a professional organizer, and she's a damn good professional organizer, I must say. And normally, I don't come in and actually give my opinion like that, but I've had the pleasure of working with Suzanne. Um, and my clients are like over the moon. They can't stop talking about you.
Oh,
So we'll get
they were
into a little bit
lovely.
of your,
I'm glad to hear that. They were absolutely
yeah.
lovely.
So let's get into the magic that you create and what you do to help us and other people get a
Absolutely.
little organized.
So, how it all starts, I don't know. Are you looking for how it all starts or,
Yeah, give us some insight on your business. Yes, how it all starts, and tell us
okay.
a, yeah.
So, basically, I've been organizing my entire life, but I started professionally organizing in 2008. And it kind of grew from there through, initially it was a lot of marketing, and now I'm at a point where it's mostly through referrals. And I work with lovely realtors such as yourself, Jacqueline, helping their clients get organized for a move or downsize, whatever that might be. But I also work for customers who have just found themselves in, a bit of a state of disarray, and they just need a little help putting things back
Hmm.
together. And I also do office businesses. So I have worked for some top businesses here in Toronto, and those are on my website, helping them get some offices cleaned up or divisions of offices cleaned up for them. So yeah, that's kind of what I do. If you've ever watched Netflix The Home Edit, it's very similar to my style of organizing. Kind of pull everything out, it gets a little chaotic, and then I put it back together and make it make sense for people. So
Yeah, yeah. And tell us a little bit more about, how you get along, how you get to that stage. Like if you were doing, do you do a consult? Like how do you really kind of look at a job and decide where it's how it's going to break down?
well, the first thing when someone contacts me, I always get in touch with them within 24 hours or less, which is really important. I actually was speaking to someone today and she said, the reason I hired you is because you got back to me so quickly. I think that's huge, especially, as a realtor, Jacqueline, the importance of kind
Yeah.
of getting on things immediately. Once I establish contact with the client, we kind of talk about what they're looking to organize or work on. And if if I feel like we have a connection, it's something I can actually help them with, then I offer a free half-hour in-home consultation. And I can see, sometimes we'll say, oh, I only think it'll take about, an hour. And you get there and you start opening drawers, and it's a much bigger job than maybe they even thought it was. So I think the in-home assessment is really important, and it also gives them a chance to meet me one-on-one and see if they connect. I think that's hugely important to have that connection and feel safe with who you're working with. So once that happens, if they, some people are like, let's do this right now. Let's start organizing today. And then other times they're like, you know what, let's book for X date, and they'll come back and, go through, it sounds so impersonal, go through their stuff, talk to them and make them kind of accountable for things they have or they're holding on to. And, I ask hard questions that maybe they just needed a third party to come in and say, do you really need this? Like,
Yeah.
kind of, do we need this? And it gets them thinking, maybe I don't need this. Maybe I am holding on to this for, my favorite is I might use it someday. If you haven't
Yeah.
used it in a year, you're not going to use it. It is a fact.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm actually good at giving away stuff. Like I'm happy to give it away so it can find another home. I just hate putting it in the landfill. Um,
Absolutely. Like for me, it's huge. Do you have a friend who could use this? Some people, have baby clothes and maybe they have a friend who's having a baby. Like it's a great help. And not only that, I like to give to shelters. There's a lot of
yeah.
people that just
Mm.
they are in desperate need of things, right? Especially we have a lot of refugees coming into Canada. They're starting fresh. Who couldn't use maybe an article of furniture or some clothing or an appliance or there's always people who need things. I really don't like seeing things go to the landfill. I'd much prefer to see them either donated or sold if that person has time to actually, spend that time listing things online. But I really lean more towards donation because, you're doing a good thing.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea because I mean, actually, the shelter is, definitely a great idea because I mean, people are stopping by and looking for, that stepping stone to help them to the next journey or the next phase, right?
Right.
So it's definitely a good opportunity for that. Now, I had the opportunity to work with you on a very recent, and I must say, and I'll tell the story a little bit. I felt overwhelmed because I mean I see a lot of stuff, and this was not by far, um, I've seen, higher, but then you know what? I felt overwhelmed because I felt like my clients were overwhelmed. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I just felt like, oh my goodness, like I need someone that can just, um, someone who's not me to tell them. But oh my God, when I walked in after, they did a lot of work and you helped them and you guided them quite a bit. And they did so much work. Um, but the most important part that stuck with me is that she said, I mean, of course, I was their hero because I sent you, and you were their hero because you helped them. Um, but she said, thank you for sending Suzanne. And
Sweet.
yeah, and she said, it just gave her that spark because she was feeling so overwhelmed on how much stuff she had to find a place for, put it somewhere or do something with it. But um, but you really kind of helped them to just get into focus and get stuff. When I came back, I went off on vacation for a week. I came back and oh my. And then, it made it a lot easier when we were staging it, right? And then the cleaners
Absolutely.
came in, and it was absolutely such a rewarding experience for my clients
Right.
and for me, inadvertently for me. But they talk about you all the time. You're
Aw,
so personable. Thank you.
thank
Um,
you.
and I'm very like people that work with my clients, I want them to feel, good about the person they're working with, right?
Of course.
Um,
Of course. Yes.
right, because that's what I'm bringing to the table is this level of customer service, right?
Mhm.
And but I don't want them to feel like it's customer service. I want them to feel like this is like so seamless that they might want to sell a house again.
Well, and it was really with them as well. It was great because they treated me unbelievably. I walked in, and from the get-go, they treated me like family, which was amazing. I mean, I tend to be very warm in my relationships with people. When I meet them, I'm very warm, and we connected on such a great level. And I was only there, surprisingly, for a couple of hours, but I was like, okay, listen, we got to do this. We got to get this on the market. We got to get this house sold like right now. So we got to do this. And we powered through, but we had such a great time, and they were so lovely and so personable as well. And I'm glad to make that connection because, as you know, referrals are kind of the backbone of our business, and we want to do a great job. But I think you and I are both very passionate about what we do, and it shows in our work, and it makes a huge difference for sure.
Yeah, and like I say, like even for me, when the clients come in, sometimes they want to chew you down, but they don't really realize the value that you offer, right? And I say to them, I
Mhm.
said, the amount of value you'll get out of my service, you will
Yeah.
be, amazed, right? But even if they're chewing me down, I always have this idea about, you know, there'll be the next one where I'll make money. It's not all about money, right? Sometimes
Yeah.
it's more than money. It's about referrals. It's about them feeling good about the process and about me feeling good that I offered this great service, right? So,
That's huge.
um,
You don't
yeah,
want to walk
yeah,
away feeling like you gave someone not the best service you can give.
yeah,
And you want to feel like you did a really great job because even if they're a little, they're upset about this. I mean, I have customers who are very stressed out, and you have to take that into consideration. They're very stressed out. Maybe they're not at their normal base level. But when you're done, and when you sell the house, or when you're done their organizing project, they're so happy with the results, and that's what you want in the end, right? We want happy clients.
yeah. No, absolutely. So,
Mm.
maybe getting into a little bit and asking you, how do people, break this cycle, or this behavior? Can you give us some tips? Because I mean, clearly, we get cluttered or we get too much stuff because you know I mean, not just too much stuff, but sometimes it's all about stuff having a place, right? But give us some idea as to how someone can just get out of that mindset.
It's hard. It's like anything else. It's like maybe it's developing good habits, and perhaps growing up they didn't have those habits. Perhaps, growing up, uh organization wasn't of importance, and stuff just kind of went wherever. That's what they've learned. So it's basically learning a new behavior, learning a new habit. It's no different than going to the gym and making that a regular part of your lifestyle. Organizing is much the same. It's not something you can do once a year or twice a year. It's almost something you need to do weekly or biweekly. And it could mean just I like to tell people, set a timer, like an egg timer, for 10 minutes, and just use that 10 minutes to kind of run around the house and pick up items that don't belong. So your hair dryer is for some reason in your living room. Take that 10 minutes, put it in a laundry basket, truck it back into the bathroom, and go around the house. When the 10 minutes are up, you'd be surprised how much you actually accomplish. But if you keep doing that over and over, and it becomes a repetitive habit, then it's a lot easier for you to maintain that. But getting out of it is the difficult part, because, as you know, some people, they've been maybe having chaos for years, and they just don't even know where to start. And that's where someone such as a professional organizer would come in and say, okay, we're going to take it back to basics. We're going to clean this up. And then I can say, going forward, we have homes for things. So when you bring something in, we know this goes here, this goes there. And when you don't have a home for things, that's where rooms become junk rooms, or drawers become junk drawers. And you just kind of close it, and you don't look at it, and you forget about it. And then every now and then you have to go in there to find something, and it's a nightmare. It's taking you forever. Where are the Christmas decorations, or where is this, where is that? So it's a habit. You just have to get into the habit, and it's hard. I will tell you that.
So I just wanted to tell everyone watching, if you have any questions, there's a little question thing at the bottom. You can just drop it in there or in the comments. We'll get to it, we promise. So if you have any questions for Suzanne, um, don't forget to um, write them in. And I'm trying to, I'm monitoring um, the comment section and the question section. So I have my eye on it. So what are some tips you can give home sellers, you know, like when people are looking to sell their house, particularly, what are some of those tips you can add?
The
Um,
biggest one, like, because a lot of people selling right now are boomers, and typically
mhm,
boomers have a lot of stuff, just based on, they grew up in a generation where their parents may have lived through the Depression. They have a lot of stuff.
mhm.
So the word I used for your clients actually was quite funny. I said, okay, you're moving into half the space that you have now. Okay, this is math, not magic. We cannot bring everything you own in this house. It's not physically possible. And so they're like, yeah, okay, like that makes sense. That actually makes sense, right? I'm like, absolutely. So if you have like a four-piece sofa with a chaise lounge attached, and you're really moving into a space that only accommodates a love seat, then you're going to have to kind of take a look around. And the other thing that's really important is you might be like, maybe your home right now looks more traditional, but let's say you're moving into a condo and it's more contemporary. You might want to take a look at your style and say, this big oversized furniture worked really well in my home, but now in a
Mhm.
condo it's oversized, it doesn't work, it's not the right aesthetic for the place. So that's something else to keep into consideration. But definitely you're downsizing, you're going to cut it in half. And the other thing is start early. You
Yeah.
don't want to be like, "Oh, we're having our pictures taken tomorrow and we need it done." It's never a good idea. It's always a good idea, if you need to get this done, to plan ahead and get someone in kind of ahead of time, or else it's very stressful. You're going to be up all night doing it.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the other thing too, right? It's never too early to get you in to help out. And with this one, I was quite clear with them that we needed to show the house. I mean, at the tail end of it, I hope people jump on and join my bandwagon when I show up, because it's also my brand, right, that goes along with it. And I'm not
Of
saying it
course.
has to be perfect, because, and I
Mhm.
can get caught up in that, because I too can have like a lot of OCD about certain things. Um, but uh, you know, it's nice when the client also understands and values what you're putting forward, because you do want, especially in this market, your house should show. It doesn't matter if your house is dated. It doesn't matter if it's a little dated. It doesn't matter if someone has to come in and do some a little bit of work to it. The house needs to show in its full potential and some, right?
Right.
And just having stuff not laying around, decluttering, getting rid of, those personal items, religious items.
Yes.
Um, yes, those are
And,
like,
we discussed that. We want to, when you're selling a house, you want to make sure that it is devoid of your personality. We just want it to look like a showroom. So clean countertops, and any decorative items that are excessive, like if you have a lot of little knickknacks, you want to scale that down a bit, right? You want it to show nicely. And that's what we actually did in terms with your client. Not that they had a lot of knickknacks, but just kind of clearing the space so that,
mhm,
let's say I was going to go in and buy the house, it's neutral to me.
yeah,
I don't feel their presence there, because ultimately I want to feel my presence. If I'm buying this house, I want to see, yeah, I want to be in this place. And sometimes it's hard for clients to do. But in the case where we were working with your client, they were actually very receptive to that, and they were on board, and it was fantastic.
yeah. So the house is sold, and
Yeah,
believe it or not, the counters are still clear, which I'm actually surprised,
I'm so
because
excited for them.
because because I guess they were liking the look. At least the wife was liking the look so much, so that she was like, "Oh no, 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 things are not coming back," which was making me laugh. She's like, "Jacqueline," she goes, "Nothing's coming back on the counter." I'm like, "Yay!"
Yay! So I made a difference.
Yeah, so absolutely that works. So how can people become a little more organized? Like maybe some tips. I know you've got some great resources on your website as well, but how can
Mhm.
people become a little more organized or maintain? I would say call you to help
Well,
them
call me, but
through.
I think maybe going forward, and especially where we're coming up to the holiday season, and I know that, retailers probably will hate me for saying this, but I would say concentrate more on experiences rather than overspending on gifts. A lot of times, I mean, I can think of, even when we have Secret Santas, you get something and you're like, I don't like this. Why did they waste why, or
Yeah,
even for Christmas presents, people go overkill and they buy everything and people leave the tags on the clothing. It's still in the closet. So I am big, especially this time of year, to focus on experiences, not gifts. Get them a trip for the holidays or, maybe an adventure or, something that is an experience they're going to remember forever as opposed to a tangible item that's going to come into the house and just add to the already clutter they might have.
that's a great idea. That's a great idea because I think I think the pandemic over the last couple of years have taught us a little bit more about, doing with less or wanting
Yeah.
less or, just maybe wanting maybe more time together as opposed to, opening a physical present.
Yeah.
Um, you know, um, my family, believe it or not, they like playing board games, right? The younger ones, they're like really into. So when we do like Christmas or whatever, they'll make sure that they have the board game so that they can keep the younger generation, the teens and younger, like occupied. But then the older ones get into it, so it gets so much fun. It's
Yes.
unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
what
that's a great point.
are yeah, what are some tips? I could not ask you for some tips that to provide our viewers. So, what are some tips you would give our viewers?
I've got a great one actually that I use myself, and it's great, especially I always love the new year because it's time to reset for the new year, January 1st. So
Mhm.
one tip I really like to use is the closet hanger tip, where every single time you have all your hangers facing one way, and every single time you pull out an item, you turn it around. And at the end of the year, if you look, you've gone through all the seasons, you see all your clothes, and you look at all the items that you haven't had the hanger turned on. And then you say, oh my gosh, look at this. This is maybe like 60, 70, 80% of my wardrobe I haven't worn. And that's a good time to say, okay, I've done the acid test. I've actually tried this. I've done this. I haven't worn this stuff. And then, that's a good time you say, am I going to wear this again? What is the issue? Is it, I just didn't like it? Is it out of style? Is it too small for me? You know, Great time to do that if you're not ready to actually empty the entire closet and do it from scratch. But
That's
if
a
you
good
want to,
tip.
by all means, pull it out, do it.
Well, that's a good tip, and I can tell you myself, I probably will have a lot of hangers that haven't will probably won't turn. So
Yes.
yeah, and I have good intentions, honestly. But now that you've given me this idea of going to the women's shelter,
You know what? That is a great, honestly,
uh,
anything, all donations are great. I mean, as long as someone else is getting the use out of it, then by all
yeah,
means. You can even post things on Facebook Marketplace saying,
yeah,
I have these items, they're, free for someone in need. There's many ways you can go about it. You can ask around your church or your friend group, do you know anyone who's in need? There's always people who can use this stuff and not end up having it go into a landfill, which is really important.
yeah. I had some shoes, and that was, a while there. Like sometimes you buy shoes, not sometimes. A lot of times you'll buy shoes, and
Yes.
you'll be like, you have good intentions of wearing it, but you only have 2 feet, and you can only put on a pair at a time. And so sometimes, you have good intentions, and the shoe's still brand new in a box, and I don't have large feet, so the other part to it is a 6.5 or a 7 possibly for boots. And a 6.5 doesn't fit a lot of people. So a lot of people are like, oh, what size? And then I say 6.5, they're like, oh, like so mad at me. And I'm like, I'm sorry. But this one young girl, she came in and she wanted to buy a pair of shoes. Um, so she actually didn't even haggle, and I didn't have them for very much. I had them for very, very cheap. And then
Right.
I'm like, do you want another pair? And she's like, I don't have it. I didn't bring any more money. And I'm like, no, no, if you want the pair, you can just take it. She's like, oh, I can get another one for free. I said, yeah, you can just take it because I just wanted to get rid of it. It was like,
Yeah.
it didn't even matter if she even showed up and just took the shoe, because I'd probably be quite happy just giving it away. Because at least I feel like someone's going to wear it, right?
Of course.
So,
And that's just it.
yeah.
Sometimes, if you're in a situation you have a lot of stuff, you just don't have the time to sit on like, Facebook Marketplace and list
Yeah.
everything you have and then have to field calls. And, I've done it for clients before and it's just such a time suck that sometimes it's just easier to be like, you know what? I've had these shoes, these clothes, they've had a good run. It's time to say goodbye and pass them along, pay it forward to someone else, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah. So, how do people get in touch with you
oh,
if they
that's
want to work with
super easy.
you?
So you can find me on my actual Instagram handle, which is at organizemychaos.ca. I am also on Facebook and on TikTok at Organize My Chaos. You can find me that way. You can also check out my website at organizemychaos.ca or .com. I own both domains. And as well, you can give me a call. I don't know if I should put my phone number in here. It's 416-602-3423. Or you can email me at info@organizemychaos.ca as well. So it's really easy to find me. I love to hear from people, especially this time of year. I love helping people out. I know it's stressful, so we're booking in December right now. So uh,
Oh.
yeah, I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, so don't spam her, please. But if you, no, I mean, honestly, if you're a realtor, you have a client who has a lot of stuff, you want to show the house well, I would suggest, um, even if you had to uh, pay Suzanne yourself, which I actually offer it as a service, because I feel people don't like to spend money, but once they they've used her services, they're like, oh my God, like, you know, it just helps that process so much faster. And sometimes, stress is worth something, right? Like stress,
Oh yeah,
if you're not paying someone to do it, you're doing it. So how much is your time worth, right?
that's so
So
true.
sometimes it just helps. It helps along the process, right? It just helps that, um, helps your client out a fair bit. But I do a lot of work. I mean, I do quite a bit of work with um, um, the people looking to retire, boomers,
Yes,
and I also do a bit of work with, a lot of my clients are first time home buyers, or at the end of their journey, right? And
right.
so, and that's when I find, if you're living in the house 10, 15, 20 years or more, some of them 50, that's where you need the most help, because you tend to just fill up space, right? And you don't want to get rid of it because of the generation they're from, right?
Exactly.
Um, right. So, tell us more about yourself. Have I missed anything? Because I feel like I know you, and I don't want to miss out letting
Well, I
other
think you
people
know
get
me
to know
very
you.
well. I think people can tell actually, just by our conversations. I am a very kind person, and I think that really reflects in the work that I do. And I think that's why, I've been able to do this for 14 years plus. It says something of your character. So if I can do it that long, and like I love helping people, I love teaching people how to get organized. I think initially when I was a kid, I thought about, I want to be a teacher, but here I am as an organizer. And in a way, it is teaching people how to kind of get out of being disorganized and help them get to be organized. So, um, yeah, I don't know. It's always hard to say, what else do we need to know about you? Uh, you know, I keep myself very busy. I'll tell you that.
Yes.
And how I do that is being very organized. So,
Yeah, there you go. Um, but for those of you who know anything about me, and probably you don't, I typically don't recommend people unless I've worked with them and I've totally like had a good experience because that's what it comes down to. But when I do have a good experience with a person, I do want to share that because I feel like that's the kind of business we're in, right? That's what we do.
Absolutely.
And but I also look at myself as, you know, I'm not going to share bad experiences because that's not really what I do because I want people to have good experiences and whatever. Plus, I look at people look at me as, you know, someone they can turn to if they were. You can always turn to me for the truth because um, I
You'll
have
give
a
it to
way
them
of telling
straight.
it. Yes, yes. I have a way of saying it, but not in a mean way, but in a um, very what should I say, downright truthful way because I think we underestimate people's ability to handle the truth. But honestly, if you are looking for an organizer, even to just help you out a little bit, Suzanne is great for that. So please, don't keep her too busy that she doesn't have time for me, but do give her, the opportunity. Um, for all of you watching, I want to thank you for sticking around. I know we had some technical difficulties. And my name is Jacqueline Watson, a realtor with Sutton Group. And my guest today, Suzanne from Organize My Chaos. So follow her at Organize My Chaos. And when you feel like your world is caving in a little bit and you just need that little help, give her a call and she'll be there.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much,
so much.
Jacqueline.
Thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
awesome. Have a
Okay.
good one. I'll talk to you
Bye-bye.
soon. Bye.
Bye.